Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Devil's Den Hockey. This is going to be a little bit of a different kind of video. We are going to be going over Tom Fitzgerald's press conference as of today. I'm in a little bit of a rush, so I apologize if I end up going pretty fast, but I have my laptop out this time, and we're going to be going over literally everything to do with Tom Fitzgerald press conference today. It was a doozy. It was a absolute wrecking ball of an issue, because we literally have a GM that's basically been in hiding this entire time, and now he's finally come out and finally been able to talk to people about, hey, what's going on right now? What the heck is going on? So let me just pull this up. So we're going to be going through literally every single question and his responses and my take on his responses. Again, I apologize if this seems a little rushed, but this is the best we are doing. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to watch the game tonight because I have other plans tonight, unfortunately. All right, so let's go over this. So Tom Fitzgerald speaks to the media, and here we have a transcription of basically the most important parts of the press conference. This is brought to you by the hockeywriters.com, who ended up having a literal transcript of all the questions, because I didn't have enough time. I was at work, didn't have the time to write them all down, but this is the way it is. So this is a transcript from the most important tidbits from the presser. So the first one is on frustration from the fans and why should we trust him and his plan. He said, and I quote, "It's a great question, and a question I know a lot of people probably want to know, but I'm very confident in where I've taken this team to and how we built through the core and added the pieces that we wanted to become a contender every year. The passion I have for the Devils ownership, and more importantly, fans, I love this. I love New Jersey. It's been my home for the past 10, 11 years. I do think I can be the one to help move this organization forward. And the goal has never changed to be a Stanley Cup champion, and that's not going to change, and I believe I can do that." So basically, in response to Fitz, why the hell should we trust you to get this team back on track and be the GM that's going to give us a Stanley Cup? His response basically is, I've lived here for a long time. You should trust me. I'm going to win you a cup. Great. Wonderful. Not answering the question. Not really in any substantive way. But you know what? Let's move on. Hopefully he can give us a better answer as we go on. The next question was about why haven't you been able to get the deals done? His response, another good question. It takes two to tango in trying to find the right deals to help this team. You know, again, there's no excuses, but every team feels they can make the playoffs, and every team wants to see where they're going to, where they're at. Where do they go? Do they continue to rise? Do they fall before they want to make personnel decisions and sell off? So I'm trying to be patient here. I believe in this group, and for the fans, I know how passionate they are. You're damn right we are. And I know how desperate they want a champion, and I'm trying to continue to do what I was set out to do, and that's to build a contender. Tom Fitzgerald giving the political man's answer in having a very direct question, why haven't you gotten the deals through? And then giving us an answer in which there basically is no answer. In why he hasn't been able to get the deals done so far, the only substantive answer he gives in the entire thing is, I'm trying to be patient here. You've had all year. No, you haven't come for press conferences. You haven't come to answer media questions. No one's heard from you, Tom. And now we're just supposed to believe, I just need you to be patient. It has been October, November, December, and half of January, or almost half of January. It has been 3.5 months. If you want to just take the slump time, it's been almost a month and a half to 2 months. Where have you been? Fans deserve an actual answer, not this, well, you know, I tried, but it is what it is. No, need to give us a better answer than that. On plans to add players to the roster, quote, I'd like to add up front, continue to give more depth. This is a non-answer. Again, what do you mean by add up front? What are the details of your plan? Who are we looking at? What teams are we looking at? Who have you spoken to? Which teams have you gotten a hold of? When you say add more depth, what does that mean? The same questions. This is a non-answer. This is 2 sentences, and then we move on. On the frequency of contact with ownership and concerns about job security. So this is the question I was looking forward to. I wanted someone to ask you, Fitz, are you scared for your job? Because you should be. And the answer that we get is this: I don't worry about that. Like, life's too short to worry about things like that. I've been, sitting in this position is a privilege, and I've never taken that for granted. I would disagree. I'm constantly in communication with ownership, my CEO, Tad Brown, Bob Myers. We all work together. We are trying to find solutions, and we're all pulling the same way. Okay, so what this tells me as a fan is, if it's true, let's say, give Tom Fitzgerald the good faith. I don't think he deserves it, but let's take him at his word. Let's say we take him at his word when he says that he's in constant contact with ownership, with the CEO, with everybody trying to right the ship. What that means to me is that the CEO and ownership are working together with Tom Fitzgerald and don't believe that he's the problem. I'll cite back to what happened a day or two ago when ownership came out and said, well, we'll reevaluate Tom Fitzgerald's plan for the Devils in the offseason. This team was first in the league and is now not only not making the playoffs, but is one of the worst teams in the NHL. If ownership is not up your ass on a regular basis about how you're going to right the ship, and they're working with you, and they don't see any issue to move you or get rid of you or bring someone else in, what that tells me is that ownership is content with failure. It is content with disappointment. They're okay with allowing a GM to run this team into the ground and to have players that just don't care, or a coach that possibly has it wrong. We'll see. So that's my take on ownership. On the Jacob Markstrom contract, quote, I don't think I rushed into it. It was something I've talked about with him, Markstrom, and his agent since the day I traded for him. When I traded for him, the goal was to extend him, and that's never changed. When you go back and look at Mark, he'd be the first to tell you about his ups and downs this year. But when you go back and evaluate him at that point, you look at his playoffs and how well he played in the Carolina series and felt he gives us a chance to win every game. And I just felt working with Allen, the tandem they had, gave us the opportunity to win hockey games. Fitz, what are you on about? This is one of the questions that set me off the most. I feel like right now, Fitzgerald is living in a different freaking reality to every single person that has eyeballs in their skull and more than 5 IQ in their brains, okay? I don't think I rushed into it. It was something I've talked about with him and his agent since the day I traded for him. He was planning on extending Markstrom from the day that he traded for him, meaning it didn't matter whether or not that Markstrom shit the bed. He was going to extend him whether or not he was crap or whether or not he was actually good. One of the reporters today said, hey, how do you feel about Markstrom ever since coming to New Jersey being a sub-900 player? And Fitz here literally says, well, he has his ups and downs. My brother in Christ, when it's 90% downs and 10% ups, we have a problem. I understand that he played well against Carolina in the series, but guess what? Did we win that series? Was it close? No, it wasn't. It was a 5-game routing of the Devils, partially because half the team was injured, but I don't understand this. He's going to base his entire opinion of Markstrom on 5 games when he's been here for 200. He's ignoring 195 other games, and he's setting his focus on 5. Make it make sense, everybody. On if the number of no-move clauses has hampered his ability to make any moves, quote, no. Okay? It hasn't hampered his ability to make moves. Fitz, if you can't move players because of the fact that you can't do it because of the clauses that you added to your I mean, look at the Dougie Hamilton situation right now. Look at Hamilton, Kovacevic, and Nemitz. Every game, a new guy is scratched. Hamilton gets scratched to bring in Kovacevic. Nemitz gets scratched to bring back Hamilton. Like, tonight, Kovacevic is going to be scratched so that Nemitz can play. And do you know why they have to keep doing this circus carousel of scratching a new guy every time there's a new game? It's because Tom Fitzgerald can't move anyone. He can't do anything with the guys that he has, because if he does, he'll be over cap space and again. I brought this point up in a video or two ago where I said Tom Fitzgerald is the equivalent of the manager that says, hey, we can't afford to pay you because if you do, we'll be breaking the law. We don't want you to come in. You'd be fired. You'd be gone. You'd be gone if you were a manager like this. It's insanity. The idea that the no-move clauses have not prevented you from making a move when you literally tried to trade Dougie Hamilton last offseason to San Jose, but he said no because in his contract, I guess San Jose was on his no-move list. Different reality. Different reality. I say again, unhinged. On head coach Sheldon Keefe's job security, quote, we are in lockstep. Lockstep. Meaning they are in sync. They are one. They are a unison. Okay, even more argument for Keefe to be gone. Because if Keefe is in agreement with what Fitz is doing, and you are in lockstep from the horse's mouth, what? What? How? What? Where? Why? How? It doesn't make any sense to me. On the validity of the reports that the Devils could not clear the cap space needed to acquire Quinn Hughes, quote, no, not true. Then what was it? Then what was it? If cap space wasn't the issue, then what was it? Was it the no-move clauses? Or was it the fact that this GM is incapable of putting together any roster moves that don't include scratching defensemen? Make it make sense, people. Make it make sense. On the team's struggles when Jack Hughes is absent from the lineup, you can't replace Jack. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Your Honor, you're the GM. It should matter to you. And I agree. Jack probably is not replaceable in this market right now. Like, Jack Hughes to the New Jersey Devils is the Sidney Crosby to the Pittsburgh Penguins, or the Nathan McKinnon to the Colorado Avalanche. He's your star. He's your go-to guy. He's your shiny boy, right? I get it. He's not replaceable. But, when the team is hemorrhaging with him gone, it means that this team can't get the job done. So do something. Anything. Or you know what? If you're having problems, at least come out to the fans and have a little bit of transparency where you say, hey, we can't get this done because of A, B, and C reasons. Otherwise, you're going to have fans like me which stand here and scream for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Who knows how long this video is going to go for. On how the team, who is 24, 32, and 2, without Jack Hughes since 2023-2024, could better prepare for his absences, Fitzgerald said, and I quote, I think it's playing differently. No shit, Sherlock. It's playing above pucks, whatever that means. Clearing out in front of our net. I mean, I agree there. Be okay with winning 2-1. Lower score games. You can still win games by playing the proper way. Okay, so this, in my opinion, is probably one of the more defensible things, okay? Clearing out the front of our net, with the Devils have absolutely had issues with all year. I've reamed Luke Hughes out for not being able to clear the puck. Be okay with winning 2-1. Lower score games. You can still win games. I'm sorry. Do you think the Devils care if they win 2-1 or 8-1? They just want to win games. But, like, you're seeing a team which isn't winning games, so why wouldn't you do something about it? You're openly saying that, like, yeah, Jackie's irreplaceable. But, like, so you know it's an issue. So what's the response? It's crickets. It's nothing. Nobody's there. On if/how the Quinn Hughes situation impacted the locker room, quote, I would have to say, of course it affected people. You know, does my phone ring and it's Tom Fitzgerald, you know? And you live on pins and needles a little. Oh, sorry, his exact word is, and you live on pins and knees a little bit. Pretty sure it may meant needles, but oh well. That's I think, natural and human. Okay, so he agrees that it had an impact. He agrees that not getting Quinn had an impact in the locker room. Great, that's actually good news. Because before, you said we couldn't do it because of cap space. But in this interview, you said cap space wasn't the problem. So what was it, Fitz? What was it? Was it the NMCs? Was it the NTCs? Was it the no move clause and the no trade clauses? Maybe, possibly. We'll never know. On the bottom six, and this is his comment on our bottom six. When we set out to do this, adding a Connor Brown and Evgeny Dadonov, and you thought they were going to be able to add some pop, along with Stefan Nason and Paul Cotter, kind of playing the same type of hockey when they played for us last year production-wise, and felt that we had added enough. We added a 20-goal scorer, Dadonov. I really want to see this team where it's at healthy. You know, when Dadonov's on your fourth line, it gives you more depth, right? And it gives you a deeper roster. So you get to see where this goes, because this was our vision from the start. So that's what excites you moving forward. Like, I do think that what we saw the other night wasn't afflicted. I think, you know, when we put our mindset together and commit to playing away from the puck, offense seems to generate more. Okay, so I get it. We went into last offseason, everyone was bitching and moaning about how the Devils had no depth. That if the top six didn't score, you basically lost the game. If Nico, Brett, Meyer, Mercer couldn't score, or Jack Hughes couldn't score or was injured, and the team basically lost. So Tom Fitzgerald last offseason went into the offseason with getting more depth. And he added pieces like Paul Cotter, he added Connor Brown, he added Dadonov, and like, I even said I liked the Connor Brown situation. I made a video during the offseason talking about the top free agent people who I thought Fitz should go after, and one of them was Connor Brown. I like Connor Brown. I think he's a good addition. But what has it given us? Dadonov's been injured all year. He's played what, 2 games? He's been injured all year. Connor Brown had an exciting beginning, like everybody on the team, and then it's been radio silence. Nothing's happened. Stefan Nason, he's been a ghost. Non-existent. Maybe it's because of the injury? But like, it can't keep being, we're injured. Like, if you have a stretch of like 10 games where you've got 2 or 3 people injured, and then they come back, I get it. It's a bad 10-game stretch. It is what it is. This was a month and a half. This was almost 20 to 25 games. It's unacceptable. It can't, like, if your team is this injury, if your team is this injured this often, then you need to go find guys who, like, aren't going to be getting injured, who seem to be resistant to injuries. Guys like Dawson Mercer. And that's the big disappointment that I've got with Mercer this year, is that he hasn't been injured and he still doesn't do anything right now. Like, it's crazy. On belief in the core, I believe in the core. We as an organization believe in the core. We've seen them at the top of their game and we all like it. Is anyone at the top of their game right now? Name me one guy that's at the tip top of their game right now. Nobody. Allen's been good. Nemec has been good. But, like, are they at the top of their game? Well, first of all, we don't know what the top of Nemec's game looks like because he's only played with us for a couple of years, if even that. And Allen, he's getting older. He's starting on the decline. Still doing better than Markstrom. But when the bar is in hell, anyone looks good next to Markstrom. Me personally, I'm not a fan of the blowing up the core argument. I don't like it. If you're going to blow up the core, only people that you should be getting rid of right now is probably Meyer or Mercer. And that's basically about it. You're not trading Jack. You're not trading Nico. You're certainly not trading Brett. So if you're going to trade anyone, it's going to be Meyer or Mercer. On a report that Hamilton wouldn't waive his no-move clause to go to San Jose. Quote, I can't comment on that situation. I don't really want to go there because Dougie is here. He played really well the other night. I bet you don't want to go into the details. I bet you don't want to go into the details because I bet you went to Dougie and he flat out refused. And you don't want to throw Dougie Hamilton under the bus because he's still on the team. But I bet if Dougie wasn't here, I guarantee you Tom would have thrown him under the bus. On if Keefe is running a different system than he is in Toronto. Quote, I'm not really sure if it's exact, because a lot of teams now are switching to man-on-man after lost faceoffs. I would have to go back and check actually to see exactly what changed. If I had to guess, he's continuing to evolve his system and where it can get better to make these small, subtle adjustments. But overall, I would guess it's very similar. Okay, so this was my thinking originally. All right, Toronto, like New Jersey, has a very similar structure. They have a young, fast core who, with speed, rush up the side and then end up getting shots on net. They cycle the puck a lot. They're young, they're fast, they like to shoot, and it's a similar system from Toronto to New Jersey. They have Austin Matthews, William Nylander, John Tavares, and when Keefe was there, Mitch Marner. On our hand, we have Jack Hughes, Dawson Mercer, Timo Meier, Nico Hischier, and Jesper Bratt. It's a very young, similar core. In fact, there's many people, myself included, who has compared some of the Devils players to some of the Leaf players. And yet, when he came to New Jersey, the first year, it was all about the offense. It was coming up the wing with speed, getting a cycle going, and get shots on net. This year, it's all defense. It's all defense. It's letting them come into our defensive zone with no pushback and then putting sticks in front to stick check. My brother in Christ, this isn't helping anybody. Lay the body. Brendan Dillon was literally brought in to hit people. Let him hit people. Dougie Hamilton, who is a ginger, over 6 foot giant. No, I wouldn't say giant, but he's an over like 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" guy. Let him hit a guy. I would say that it's definitely different, but that's neither here nor there. On if the team has moved away from what made them successful in 2022-2023. Quote, what made us successful in 23 was how good we were off the rush, right? I would agree. We were a very good rush team, a very quick strike type of team, and that's how we still want to play. But the reality is, other teams don't want to get into these track meets, we call them. So they know when they play us, if they get into a track meet, it's probably not going to look good when they're committed to playing on top of the puck and on top of our guys to limit those. And now it's how we adjust. You know, are we comfortable in those uncomfortable situations, grinding it down low and having to chip pucks in at certain times? So that's development and growth. How does an individual take on something that may be a little bit less comfortable than we're used to? I love watching our team play off the rush, but when it's not there, how do we win? We got to find a different way. This is the only question that I actually think that Fitzgerald is like bang on about. I actually think he's completely right here. In 23, we were a very hot, young, fast team. And when we exploded with speed into the offensive zone, there was not a lot of people that could deal with us. Like, there's nothing worse than seeing Jack Hughes barreling down the side of the ice, coming in on your goalie hot, and you've got to, like, get your legs going to stop him. And I agree. But Fitzgerald is right. A lot of the teams took a look at the way the Devils played and realized that we were one-trick ponies, right? Rush up the spot, rush up the side, get shots on net. So all you gotta do is stick a defenseman on the blue line and just run into us the minute we walk into the zone, and basically the entire Devils offense falls apart. And he's talking about, you know, where do we adjust? Where do we make those changes? In my opinion, that can't be Fitz's responsibility. That comes down to the coach. That's something that Keefe has to figure out. Because if it's just going to be the same play over and over and over and over, every single other team is going to coach against that. It really is that easy. On if there's anything he attributes to the lack of production from core players, Meier, Hughes, Hischier, and Bratt. I really don't. He doesn't know. He just doesn't know. On if there's anything he attributes, I don't know. Gee, thanks, Fitz. Thanks for that input there. I don't know. Good question. We don't know either. Are you telling us that fans have the same level of knowledge as the GM? No shot. He knows. Especially if Keefe and him are in lockstep. On if there's any question the playoffs are still the goals. Oh, Yeah. Listen, I don't even look at standings, but I know that we're one streak away from being where we were at the start, where we really liked what we had and thought we were. We're a good team. I know we're a good team. I know we're a good team. That's what the question. The question is that Fitz thinks we're like one bad day away from like a 5 or 6 game winning streaks. This is where I question if Fitz is actually watching the games. And if he is watching the games, what is he seeing that we're not? Because when I watch the games, there's no way this team is going on a winning streak. There's the way they're playing recently, and you know what? It's not even because I don't want them to. I want them to go on a winning streak. But, like, I don't know how you stand here and say things like, oh, yeah, I don't think there's any problem. Like, we're just going to go on a win streak. Like, this is where I say, like, are we living in the same reality? Are we watching the same games? On if a run doesn't follow, how does he work his way out of this? I'm just going day to day here. Today's a new day. I want to build on the last day. When it comes to getting out of something, you take it one day at a time, and that's all we're doing here as a group. Day to day. There's nothing wrong with taking things day to day. The problem is when you don't have a big picture of like a, hey, here's the 10-step program we're about to implement to get us from here to here. If you're only looking at day to day and there's no bigger picture to look at, we're in trouble. Because what you're saying is you're going to make decisions based on the day-to-day needs of the group. But as a GM, you can't have day-to-day things. That's more for things like coaching. The GM needs to be your bigger picture guy. How do we go? Okay, you've got 3. Let's say you're a cup contender and your guys are getting a little bit older. When I say older, I mean like late 20s to early 30s. Your guys are getting a little bit older and you've got 3 decent years of running for the cup. What is your 3-year program here? How do we get from not winning the cup to winning a cup in that 3-year program? If you're only looking at day to day, then you're screwed. I don't know what to tell you. On if an Arseny Gritsuk extension is something he plans on visiting. Yeah, we do plan on that. When a player like that comes in and you can feel he can pop and he can tell you he can still be better, you feel very lucky. What's the plan? What's the plan? Because right now, cap space is all maxed out. So maxed out, you literally can't play guys on your roster because if you do, you'll go over the cap space. What's the plan for Gritsuk? On the plan for Lenny Haminaho, I'm awful at pronouncing names, I'm sorry. We feel very fortunate. He's a dip your toe in the pool kind of player. Gotta get a little comfortable to feel better about his game. And we've actually talked about bringing him up even just to practice with us so he's comfortable here. It's a meritocracy, and he's playing well, and we want to give him an opportunity. But we want to make sure he feels very comfortable in a situation that we can get the best out of him at that time. I don't care right now about Lenny Haminaho. I couldn't give a rat's ass. He's so far down on the priorities of what's wrong with this team. My biggest issue with this comment is him saying it's a meritocracy. If it's a meritocracy, why is Luke Hughes not getting benched? Why is Luke Hughes not a scratch player? Because he's been playing as bad, if not worse, than Dougie Hamilton this season. $9 million a night. Can't do his job. If it's a meritocracy, why is Luke Hughes not being treated the exact same way that Hamilton or Kovacevic or Nemitz is getting? And Nemitz is far and above, miles above where Luke Hughes is right now in terms of how he's playing this year. On struggles in Utica, don't care. Right now, my focus is on the Devils. We're going to skip this Utica comment. I don't care about the AHL right now. Not a big deal. How many more questions? Okay, we got 3 or 4 more. I can do this. On the large cap hits of Hamilton, Markstrom, and Palat, coupled with restrictive clauses. Quote, well, at that time, really advertisements? Well, at that time, that was what the numbers were negotiating with their agents, and other teams helped them set that market. My guy! Why? Why are we doing this? Well, at the time, that was the number. I don't care. We're not there anymore. Andre Palat produces nothing right now. Hamilton produces nothing right now. Markstrom can't stop a beach ball. Like, I'm sorry, you can't justify the number that they're being paid now because of the actions in the past. That's not how that works. If you're a GM and 2 years ago you signed a guy to $9 million, but now he's shitting the bed, you have to do something. That's on you. The onus is on you. further confirmation on whether he would have been able to move money to make a Quinn Hughes deal work. Yeah. Sorry, quote, yeah. So we could have made cap space room. So what was that we were all hearing about we couldn't get the deal done because of cap space issues? He's telling us we could. I don't know what I'm supposed to believe anymore. Last question here. On a passionate fan base, quote, I keep myself accountable to the fans, and I know that they're unhappy right now. They're a passionate fan base. And that's what I love about being here, because of that fan base and what their expectations are. So we're working to find ways to improve our team. Bullshit. Bullshit. I keep myself accountable to the fans. For what? Going into hibernation? Fitz, nobody has seen you. Nobody's heard from you. You don't update social media, right? And I wouldn't expect you to. You need to be doing press conferences. But, like, you see other teams dropping stuff on social media to inform their fan bases of what's going on. Now, are fans entitled to know the every in and out of what's going on behind closed doors? No. We're not. What you need to do, however, what the fans are entitled to, I do think, is an update when your team goes to shit. And it doesn't need to be every game. It can be like once every 2 weeks. But like this radio silence of nothingness, of we're not going to tell anybody anything is insane. Especially when your team is tanking. Right? When we say accountability, what that means is that when the reporters show up who are on social media on a regular basis and seeing how unhappy fans are, and you say nothing, and you turn away reporters, and you refuse media personnel, and you refuse to speak, you're actively turning down interviews. That's not accountability. It's cowardice, right? It's the same way that if you are working a job and you're with a client or a customer, and you know what? Let's do this one. Let's do this. Let's say you're a car salesman and you're selling a car to a customer, and your boss wants you to sell the car like it's a new car, but really it's used. To not tell the customer that you're selling the car to that it's used and not a brand new one is negligence, and it's fraud. If you are a GM in the NHL and your team is tanking and you say nothing and you refuse press conferences and you refuse reporters and interviews, it is negligence. It is cowardice. It is the sign of a GM that doesn't know what they're doing, or knows what needs to be done but doesn't want to say anything, or thinks that the whole situation is fine and just doesn't want to come and doesn't want to say that to the reporters because he knows that he'll be walked to the guillotine. This is not accountability. This is a man that is saying we are fine with the way that things are going and we have no substantive plans to change it. What do you do? At the end of the day, fans can't do anything. We're just here for the ride. But it's frustrating when the people that are supposed to be accountable to people who spend their good money, their hard-earned money that they work at 8, 9, 10 hours a day at, that they're going to go spend their money on a team that they like, that they enjoy, that they want to support emotionally and financially, to get absolutely zero communication. It's insane. It's insane. So, on that note, I'm going to wrap it here. Because that was basically all of the questions that I wanted to go over. Markstrom, I don't regret the extension. Okay. What are your plans to do with the Hamilton situation? I don't know. Okay. What's the relationship like between you and Keith? We're in lockstep. Okay. These are the answers. This is the guy that's going to lead us to a cup. I don't know. I do not know. On that note, guys, take it easy, and I will see you in the next one.